All right, show me the money. NFL picks time for week number 5. Joining me today for the first time on video, our legal correspondent, big time Giant fan, Phil Fraietta is here. Phil, how are you?
Not great because I'm a big time Yankee fan also. I've been a lot better, but thanks for having me on.
Not a problem. I mean, we'll start with your Yankees. Talk about the top of the show here. My issues with that game, the wild card game, the season as a whole, and I know you have some thoughts. I'll let you give you the floor here. So, what's your big issue here at the Yankees besides the manager?
Yeah, so I apologize. I'm going to rant here. But my big issue with the Yankees is what I call just arrogance. It's baseless arrogance from the organization. It starts at the top and goes all the way down. And nothing is exemplified more than Aaron Boone saying that the rest of the league has caught up to us. So what the hell does that mean? This is a team, Mike, that's won the division once in 10 years. They won one division title in 10 years. They haven't won a World Series since 2009. They lose to the Rays every single time they play them. They lose to the Red Sox every time they play them in a big game. They lose to Houston every time they play them in a big game. So I don't understand what Aaron Boone is talking about, but that is what the organization thinks. I heard on JJ's podcast on the Ringer Network today an analogy that I thought was perfectly right. And it's a historical one for the history buffs, but the Yankees are like Macedonia after Alexander the Great. Nobody cares about Macedonia after Alexander the Great. No one even knows what Macedonia is. And that's what the Yankees are like. They live in the past. I understand they have 27 championships, but they have won diddly squat in the past 10 years, and especially this group of players. This group of players has done nothing. So if we go through a history of recent Yankee history, they had the 09 bunch. Those guys, they won the title. In 2010, they just came up a little short. 11, they regressed. 12 was just the wheels fell off. They got old. Jeter broke his ankle in that playoff game. The team disbanded in 13. They were horrible. Okay. 13 to 16, they tried the rebuild with Beltran and Tanaka and Jacoby Ellsbury. It didn't work. They were a mediocre team. And then came 17. And in 17, the Baby Bombers showed up. We had Judge and Stanton and later Andujar and Torres and so on and so forth. And Gary Sanchez. And this was the year. And the Yankees, they had that miracle run in 17. They almost made the World Series. And we expected by now they would have built on that. But these guys have regressed. Mike, they've regressed. Who is better? Who is better than he was in 2017 on this team? Judge? That's it. That's it. Andujar stinks. Torres stinks. Sanchez stinks. Severino's nowhere to be found. Chad Green stinks now. And so on and so forth. Clint Frazier can't even play. So it's time for the organization to say this group failed. We need to reset, hit the reset button, and improve the team dramatically, because I'll end my rant here, Mike. Every year the Yankees lose in the playoffs, they tell you the playoffs are a crapshoot. And they're right, the playoffs are a crapshoot. But now they have a problem because the Yankees have been a mediocre regular season team now for a year and a half. Barely making the playoffs. You can't tell me the playoffs are a crapshoot. You didn't even deserve to be there. You're the fourth best team in your own division. You beat out Toronto by a game. And Mike, I don't think anybody could disagree with me that if that season went on one more week, Toronto was going to pass them.
Oh, 100%. And I think the thing also that frustrates me if I was a Yankee fan is just like the sense I've been getting. And from what I was listening to today, we haven't heard from the Yankees today. We're recording on Wednesday night. And who knows, by the time this gets in your ears Thursday, we might have changed here. But from all indications, it sounds like Aaron Boone will be coming back. So they've given no hint that they're going to let him go, which to me makes no sense because I get, yes, he did a good job at the end there, sort of stabilizing the ship there, but a lot of questionable moves. This team has not gotten any better here. If you're going to bring everybody back, bring the gang back together one more time, I don't know how you can do that with the same manager and hope for different results. It's really the definition of insanity.
If Aaron Boone, I didn't talk about Aaron Boone in our opening because you said besides the manager. But if you want to talk about the manager, Aaron Boone should have been fired last night. They should have let him go last night. There is no reason for Aaron Boone to get his job again. The team has regressed under his leadership. He makes questionable in-game decisions, but most importantly of all, because I understand that analytics departments are really driving the manager's decisions now. I get that. But most importantly, Boone just exemplifies the culture of accepting of losing. The Yankees are embarrassed by the Rays and the Red Sox and the Blue Jays for that matter, every single time, and they don't care. They act like it's the regular season is meaningless. We'll be there in the playoffs and we'll show up. It's not true, Mike. It's just not true. And Aaron Boone is the guy who exemplifies that. I want a manager like Alex Cora. I want a guy like that to manage the Yankees with that fire that we're going to go out there and we're going to beat the Rays. We're going to, I don't think I'm allowed to say this on your podcast. We're going to kick their butt. We are going to kick the Rays' butt. You know what? The Yankees should bully the Rays. They've got a payroll 10 times that of the Rays. Bully them. But they don't. Same thing of the Red Sox, too. By the way, Mike, if anybody thinks that wants to tell you about the rivalry in 1918, the rivalry has been completely flipped on its head now. The Red Sox are the dominant team in the rivalry.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They're definitely the dominant team now. It's this thing, you sit there, you watch this, and it's just, I'm going to start wrapping here because I don't want to go on forever and ever and ever because we got NFL picks to do here. But I just think you're right that there's sort of an attitude of entitlement and arrogance of this team and this front office where they're like, we're the Yankees. People are going to be good, come to us. They're going to win and we're going to do what we want. And the sport's evolving around them. And they're sort of standing in place.
Yeah. And then the last thing I'll say before we move on to football is, so how do you improve it? Well, the first thing you do is you fire the manager. But the second thing you do is you change the offensive philosophy. This team does not score runs. They don't even score runs anymore. I want Sanchez gone. I want Gardner gone. I want Urshela gone. I want Andujar gone. Frazier gone. I want those guys replaced by players who can play defense and are athletes. And there's no reason why the Yankees can't bring that in. And by the way, while we're at it, Joey Gallo, trade him. Just get rid of him. He is the epitome of what's wrong with the Yankees. You do not need another 3 true outcomes guy in that lineup. They have enough of them. Get rid of Joey Gallo.
Yeah, well, I feel like they're going to keep him around because Brian Cashman made that trade. But since we're on the baseball topic here,
they're going to roll it back next year. They're going to come in 4th place, and then maybe they'll change.
Yeah, so also since we're on the baseball topic, we're going to revisit. We do the over-unders in the preseason every year, and this year was pretty close. With the graphic up on the screen here for people watching the video version, it's going to be in the post-production, Phil, so you can't see it live. It'll be on the YouTube version, but we ended up tying 4-2 this year. It was pretty crazy because I thought I was dead to rights for about 5 months, and all of a sudden I got red hot in the last month.
Well, you got the Cardinals with their 17 or whatever it was game winning streak.
Yep, the Lily carried me over the line. So to reset here, Phil's picks for this year. You got the White Sox over 90.5. He won that. The Indians under 81.5. He won that. He lost on my team over 91. I'm sorry, Phil. That was bad.
I'm never touching the Mets again. I'm never touching the Mets again. I don't know if I jinxed them, but I want no part of the Mets.
Yeah, the Red Sox under 79.5. That was a loss. We understand Alex Cora coming back, having an impact like that.
Look, a year ago, I would have told you I don't care who the manager is. You can go get a kid off the street to be the manager. Alex Cora has changed my opinion. He makes a difference. He makes a tremendous difference, and that's why I was saying earlier I want the Yankees to bring in a guy like that.
Yeah, those are two losses. You had the Astros always 87.5 as a win, and you went against the trends here on that one. This will prove to be correct for you. The Padres under 94.5, probably your best call of the year.
The Padres, there was too much hype. Now, look, I'll admit I didn't see the San Francisco Giants winning 107 games, but what I did see that they were in a division with the Dodgers, and that in 94 is a big number. I thought they were going to win like closer to 90. I didn't expect them to have as bad a year as they did, but I did think 94 was too high.
Yeah, and Jace Tingler got fired today as we were prior to us recording, so he did pay the price for that one.
Yeah, well, somebody should pay the price when teams underperform.
Yeah. My picks, I had the Rockies under 63.5. That was a big loss. I was shocked that they won as many games as they did. The home field at Coors is just such a big deal for them.
Yeah, I'm especially in that division
Yeah.
with 206 plus win teams in there. That's really surprising.
So I had them. I had the Royals over 73.5. That was the one that came down to the wire. They won it in the last couple days, so I got that one right. The Cardinals we talked about already over 86. Phillies under 81.5. I lost that barely. They have 82 wins. I had the Blue Jays over 86. They got hot at the end to win it. And Baltimore under 63.5 was a lock. I had that one basically from June on.
Yeah. Blue Jays was a good one though. The Blue Jays are a scary, scary bunch.
Yeah, they are a scary bunch. And let's get to the football now here. So we're going to leave that alone. We'll call it a tie. We'll see next year who can get the upper hand. But football wise, I guess say what's most surprising about Sunday was not only the Yankees won the way they did to get in, but both our football teams won. Yours was more shocking, down 21-10 in the fourth quarter. Joe Judge is punting from 4th and 8 from the 39. From the 39, you say, okay, this game's over. And then they come back 11 to tie, win in overtime. How shocking was that?
I couldn't believe it. Now, I'll be honest with you. I was stupid enough to be watching the Yankees, hoping that they'd beat the Rays on that Sunday and clinch the playoff spot and hopefully have the game at home. So I didn't watch much of the Giant game, but I was shocked to see that they managed to come back and win the game. I'm still very, very down on the Giants. I'm glad that they won, and I'll admit that some things have looked a little positive so far this year, despite the record. Daniel Jones has played pretty well. Andrew Thomas has played pretty well, shockingly. But I'm still. The Giants is another case similar to the Yankees of just arrogance. That they act like they walk on water too, and they haven't won a thing in 10 years either. They're actually very similar to one another. Hopefully, so every time the Giants win, I get scared that means Dave Gettleman's sticking around.
Yeah, well, right now, Galvin put the back burner for a minute. The one thing essentially is Daniel Jones. I mean, he had probably one of his best games as a pro. He threw for 402 yards in that game in New Orleans. He got the big touchdowns to John Ross, Saquon Barkley, and I have to say, for the 4 games this year, Daniel Jones has been a net positive for them most of the way. He's cut the turnovers way down. He's been making plays. What do you think about what you've seen so far out of him?
He's playing really well. I'll give him credit. He really is. He's playing well, and they do have some pieces around him. The parts of the game I did see Sunday, when they have that roster out there, when they've got Galladay just making physical plays as a receiver, Tony underneath is definitely a threat. He showed that he can play. Ross is a deep threat. Saquon catching the ball out of the backfield. There's a semblance of an offense there if they can actually call the plays right, and if they can protect Jones, which to his credit, Andrew Thomas has looked like a stud so far. He's been great. So yeah, I'm impressed with that front, and Daniel Jones he's playing well. We'll see if he can continue it, but he's definitely played. This is the best football he's played in his career for sure.
Yeah, it definitely has. And now all of a sudden, like it's amazing what a difference one win can make for you for the Giants because we go talking 0-3, all the season's over. We have nowhere to go. Is Joe Judge getting run out of town? Wednesday Delvin getting fired? All of a sudden now you have a win. You're going to Dallas this week, chance to get back at the Cowboys, get a big win in division. What do you think they have to do to win this football game?
I don't think they have a chance in hell to win the football game. But if they were to win it, what they need to do is the following. They need to contain the Cowboy offense. They're not going to shut down the Cowboy offense, but hold them to field goals. Keep them out of the end zone as much as you can. I know they're going to move the ball, but hold them to field goals. That's the most important thing. I think they need to be aggressive on offense. That's one of the big knocks that I have on the Giants, and it starts with the head coach and goes all the way down. They are not aggressive enough. You are not going to win in the modern NFL if you play not to lose. You have to play to win. And what I mean by that is go for it on 4th down, 4th and short in enemy territory. Go for it. No, there's no need to see a kicker out there. That kind of stuff. The Giants never do it. This happened 2 weeks ago. I was laughing. That game against the Falcons that they lost. The Giants took the ball back with 4 minutes to go in the lead, and they attempted to run out the clock basically. with conservative play calling, get into field goal range, or not the lead, sorry, tie game, get into field goal range, kick the field goal. That doesn't work. You got to play to win. And if the Giants can go out in Dallas and actually play to win, play aggressively, go after that Cowboy defense, which stinks, by the way, they might be able to put up some points. I think those are the big keys. And Joe Judge needs to not do anything stupid because I know a lot of Giants fans love him. I don't, as you know. I knocked him from the first day they hired him on this podcast when he said something like, "We don't know who the starting running back is yet. We haven't had training camp," for some ridiculous cliche line. But let's call it like it is, Mike. He has been bad these first 4 weeks. Between challenging a scoring play, burning all his timeouts, punting the ball in enemy territory on 4th and short, he's been bad.
Yeah, he has. So we'll see what happens this week. I think it's a big pivot point for the Giants season here because they don't get this. Things get ugly again. But if they do, you might have a season.
Yeah, look, I know I'm negative on the Giants, but I want to caution the Giant fan. Do not get your hopes up. They're probably going to go get crushed in Dallas. This is the same thing that's happened every year, Mike. Because the Giants play in a crummy division, they're 2-4 and 2-5, and people say, well, they still have a chance. They don't have a chance. Yeah, you want to go out there and play well. That's what's important.
Yeah, you want
to progressing. Keep Thomas progressing. Show me something.
You want a chance this season? Go beat Dallas. That's why I say the Giants.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
and play well. Play well too, please. I want to see the quarterback play well. I want to see the left tackle play well. I want to see some of these cornerstones, really, of the franchise play well.
All right, and let's get to the picks. The reason why you're here. The great John Stenko was here last week doing picks the first time. He went 1-2 on the week. He had the Lions getting 2.5, and the Chicago was a popular pick on the board, but the Bears outclassed them. He had the Eagles getting 7.5 against the Chiefs at home. That was closer a bit. Kansas City pulls away. He did win with the Packers, laying 6.5 against the Steelers at home. So 1-2 on the week for Stenko.
Yeah, it was picks in general have been tough this year.
Yeah.
I found, at least.
Yeah, I've had the same issue. I went 1-2 last week as well. I picked against your team. I took the Saints laying the 8.5. That one blew up in my face when they blew the lead late. I had the Bucks laying the 7 on Sunday night against the Patriots, and the weather and all the Buck injuries kept that way closer than I should have been. I did win with the Ravens, getting 1.5 in Denver. They won that outright, so I went 1-2 as well. So another rough week.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and I was one of them. A lot of people in survivor pools got knocked out by our two teams last weekend.
Oh yeah, I'll get to the survivor pool later on, but on the year, the Challengers are 3-9. I'm only 5-7, so it's been a slow start for both sides, to say the least.
Yeah, well, I'll see what I can do, but this is, when I was looking at the games, this is a very hard week to pick.
Yeah, I mean, I was staring at these for about 45 minutes, and I found one I liked right away, and that was just throwing darts at the other two, trying to figure out what to do with these picks. So that was ridiculous this week.
Yeah, same. So caution to the listeners and the viewers. I don't feel confident in the picks I'm about to give at all, but here we go.
All right, and indeed, here we go. So we're going to get started here with the NFL picks for week 5. Phil, you are the guest. Where are you going for pick number 1?
I'll just go in order of the one, how I sent them to you. So pick number 1 and like I said, this was a really hard week to pick. I struggled with it. So these are the best ones that I could come up with. Pick number 1, Broncos are playing the Steelers. They're getting 1.5 points, which I think is crazy because I don't know if you've watched the Steelers at all this year, but if you have, Ben Roethlisberger is cooked. He's done. He should have retired. They should not have begged him to come back. He was right. He knows his body better than anybody. I just don't think the Steelers are any good. I don't think Denver's any good either, but they've proven that they know how to beat bad teams like they did to our teams. So I consider the Steelers to be a bad team right now. I think they can go in there and win the game outright, but certainly cover the 1.5 points.
All right. I think also with that game, I think the thing that's tough with that one is obviously Teddy Bridgewater's injury because he has a concussion. We don't know if he's going to play that game. And Drew Lock is playing that game. I understand why they're underdogs on the road there, but it's a good value play if Teddy plays. Because Teddy plays, you got him as an underdog. You're going to win outright pretty much. I think you have a good shot at that one.
Yeah, and even if Teddy doesn't play, I still feel okay about the game because of the style of football that the Broncos play. It's not super quarterback dependent. And I think that their defense is just going to manhandle Roethlisberger and the Steeler offense.
All right, where are you going with pick number 2?
Pick number 2, I'm going with another road team, but this time I'm going with a road favorite. The Packers are 3-point favorites on the road against the Bengals. I know the Bengals have looked pretty good this year. Burrow's an impressive young quarterback. They have some pieces on that team, but Green Bay, I feel like, has been a little underrated so far early in the year. All they've been doing is winning. They've been winning all their big games. I like Green Bay to go in there, and I think they win this game by a touchdown.
Yeah, I see the logic in that pick. I do. The thing I worry about is it's a sucker bet where they have a game against the Bears next week. Do they look ahead, take the Bengals too lightly, and give them struggle mightily in this game? That's the one thing I worry about here.
Yeah. Look, I see that. That's possible, and I don't mean to poo-poo the Bengals. I think the Bengals are a pretty good team. I think they're certainly on the rise here, but I just think the Packers have been a little underrated so far by the bookmakers. They've played well, and I could see them going in there and winning. And say what you want about the Packers and their coaching staff, that guy wins in the regular season. He's been a winner since he came there.
Yeah, he does. And where are you going with your last pick? It'll be pick number 3.
Pick number 3. I'm picking this game more so because I just wanted to, because it's kind of the game of the week in a sense. But I am going with the Buffalo Bills, the +3 at Kansas City. I kind of wanted to pick the game just because I want to watch it and have a little bit of a rooting interest. So that's one reason why I picked it. But I'm not. The Chiefs look a little down so far this year. Now maybe this is what they need, a big game against a tough opponent to get them going. But they don't look as sharp as they have in the past. Their defense stinks. So I think Buffalo can go in there. I don't know if they're going to win the game outright, but I think they can keep it close.
Yeah, this game is a lot of fun. I think the line's perfect for that game. I think this is a big stage for Buffalo here, too. Isn't it? They started off hot after that week 1 debacle against the Steelers, but they go in here and win this game. They're the class of the AFC. They probably have home field. I think it's a massive game. I like the odds there. So Kansas City looks a little vulnerable.
Yeah, I think the Bills are getting them at the right time. Kansas City seems like one of those teams who have been there before. End of the year, they're probably going to be unbeatable, but right now they may be beatable, and certainly enough that I can take the 3. And you know, if I lose by a field goal, I still get the push.
All right, those are your picks are on the board. I'm up now. Pick number 1. And this tells you how crazy this weekend lines are. This is my most confident pick. I'm taking the Detroit Lions getting 8.5 points in Minnesota against the Vikings. This is mostly a shot at the Vikings here because I don't think they're that good. They're 1-3. Dalvin Cook is dealing with an ankle injury. He may not finish this game if he even plays in it. And 8.5 points is so big. Detroit's been competitive for the most part in their games. And I think last week was an overreaction to the Bears' struggles that line was so tight. Now I think it's gone the other way completely where I think it's too big. I think this game is a touchdown game either way. I'm getting the points of Detroit. I'll take the Lions here, pick number 1.
Yeah, 8.5 is a big line. I agree with you. I looked at that game. I can't bet on the Lions. It's just won't do it. And just like the Mets are going to be in that new category, don't do it. But 8.5 is a big number.
That's pick number 1. Pick number 2. I'm taking the Titans laying 4.5 on the road in Jacksonville. I know what they look like against my team last week, but AJ Brown's back at practice today. He might be able to play this weekend, which would be huge for them. Julio Jones might be on the mend as well. And the Jaguars are an utter train wreck. Urban Meyer's situation is such a disaster for them, such a distraction. I think the extra time here is not going to matter. They have to get ready for this game. There's so many things keeping them focused off the football field here. Tennessee needs this game in a big way. I think they're going to blow the Jaguars out. Give me the Titans laying the 4.5 on the road, pick 2.
Yeah, I could see it. The only reason I stayed away from the Titans is because of what I saw against your team. They don't touch the quarterback.
Yeah.
They get no pressure on the quarterback, and Trevor Lawrence has shown some flashes that he can play, and I'm afraid that if you let him sit back there, he can keep the game close enough that they're going to cover. But I understand the logic there. The Jaguars do stink, and Urban Meyer, I don't even know if he's going to finish the season, honestly.
Yeah, that's pick number 2. Pick number 3, again, I was struggling a lot here, so I said, you know what? Have some fun. I'll take my Jets getting 3 points in London against the Falcons. Again, Atlanta's not very good. Atlanta cannot defend the pass. I know this is a chance this blows up my face. Zach Wilson goes out as a bad game after a strong showing against the Titans in the second half here, but I did take the bet here that this clicked. They're going to come out here focused. They're going to play well. They played well in basically 2.5 of their 4 games so far. The Denver game was a wash. The first half in Carolina was a wash. I think here they're going to be in this game. I think they have a great chance to go on the road and steal it. I don't think there's any reason they can't. It's a neutral site. They're both going to London. It's not going down to Mercedes-Benz Stadium here. So this, again, lack of options. Why not? Jets +3. Wrap the week up.
Yeah, you may as well take your team, have a little fun. Look, that's a team. You're right. Two really bad teams. Those London games in the past have tended to be kind of low scoring, I think. If I remember right, they usually tend to be close. I think both teams are a little thrown off by the travel and the time zones. So could I see that game being a close one and the Jets covering? Yeah, sure.
All right, so to reset the picks of the week, Phil has started off the week here. He took the Broncos getting 1.5 in Pittsburgh against the Steelers, with the Packers laying 3 in Cincinnati against the Bengals. Took Buffalo +3 in Kansas City on Sunday night. I have taken Detroit Lions getting 8.5 points against the Minnesota Vikings week in Minnesota. I have taken the Tennessee Titans laying 4.5 in Jacksonville against Urban Meyer Jaguars, and the Jets +3 in London against the Atlanta Falcons. And those are your picks for week number 5 here on the podcast. Next week on the picks here, good friend of ours, another Yankee fan, Joe Chaffee, back on the podcast doing picks next week.
Please ask Joe his opinions on Mr. Boone. Hopefully he's fired by that point, but if not, Joe may rant as well. It's just I was talking to him earlier today. Actually, it's a disgrace, Mike. I know we're doing football, but it's just really a disgrace that the arrogance that team has, that group of players have. They've done nothing. They've won nothing.
Yeah,
and I hope they remember that in this offseason.
Yeah, in case people on the podcast forgotten, Joe's a big Titans guy. So we'll talk to you about that Titans-Jaguars game that I picked. So we'll see if I'm going to be like congratulating him or yelling at him for basically handing me a loss.
Yeah, he is a Titans guy.
Yeah, and one more piece of business here. I do the knockout pick every week on the podcast. Last week, very, very easy. I had Buffalo 40-0 over the Texans. So that was probably the least sweat I've had with a knockout pick this year.
Yeah, I got cute in my knockout pool. I thought I could save Buffalo for later. I picked the Titans, and your team made me pay.
Yeah, so right now, my sequence here, I've gone 49ers, Browns, Panthers, Bills. Those are my first 4 picks of the year. This week, I'm going to try and avoid the drama considering how ridiculously close these lines are. The pick is Tampa Bay over the Dolphins at home. Tampa Bay at home. Miami has Jacoby Brissett again. No Will Fuller. This is a game the Bucs are going to win. I think the Dolphins can cover the spread. It's 10 points, but I think the Buccaneers, there's no way in hell they're losing that game.
I think that's right. I think that's if you don't want to get cute, that's the easiest one. The only other one that I could even consider is the Patriots, and that's just a bet against the Texans pick. But I'm not very impressed with what I've seen from the Patriots so I agree with your pick there. I think that's a safe pick.
Because this week is ridiculous in Survivor. You're trying to get in the knockout pools. You're trying to get cute because there's not much out there. So the Patriots are there. Do you consider the Raiders at home against the Bears and the Bears have trouble scoring? Maybe. But other than that, I don't know what else you're looking at.
Yeah, no, there's nothing else you could really look at here. And look, I've preached it in knockout pools before, and then I didn't follow through. When you get cute, you lose. You're better off just don't try and save teams. Just go with the best team each week and get as far as you can, and then you never know.
Yeah, the cutest I went was week 3 with Carolina on the road in the short week, but that was Davis Mills' first career start. I'm like, there's no way in hell they're going to lose that game. I got that correct, at least.
Yeah. So you're alive.
Yeah, I am alive. We'll see how long this goes, but already better than last year. Phil, thanks for all the time. Really appreciate it.
All right, Mike, before I go, I want to just rep the Hitmen softball team that you and I are both members of. I wore the shirt. Just wanted to, in case any of our teammates are listening, go Hitmen.
Or watching the YouTube version, you will see the actual visual of Phil rocking the Hitman shirt.
Yeah, go Hitmen.
All right.
Back to back.
All right, Phil. Thanks again. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.